All right, guys, we have a giant election breakdown for you. Now, this is not all the races. There's so many that, I had to highlight the notable ones here for you. So first off, we got Texas 28. Representative Henry Cuellar leads challenger Jessica Cisneros by just 177 votes. And according to Steve Kornacki here, who's wonderful on all this election stuff, he says there's still a very small number of provisional ballots to be counted, and there are several counties that could still have a few uncounted votes, and a recount looms. So NBC is not yet calling the race. Now, this race right here was a roller coaster, because it was called earlier in the night in favor of Cuellar, but there was a glitch or an error in the AP vote count, and so then everybody had to come back and retract it because Cisneros started leading again. And come to find out that there was just a mistake that the AP made, and it's going to be razor thin. And again, it might even be, I don't know the laws in Texas, but it might be an automatic recount. So we're looking at a situation that is very, very similar to the last election between Cuellar and Cisneros, where Cuellar won by the tiniest of margins. The tiniest of margins. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about this race. I'm sure many of you already know about it, but it's, I want to get all the facts out there. Cuellar is the only Democrat in the House who's anti-abortion. The only Democrat who's pro-life. He also has an A rating from the NRA. He also is supported by big oil. And he's a Democrat who had the establishment go all out for him in the lead up to this election. I'm talking Steny Hoyer, Clyburn, Pelosi. They all bent over backwards to back Cuellar, and Cuellar went dirty in his campaign, accusing Cisneros of being a homewrecker, lying about the fact Cuellar said, I'm not even under FBI investigation anymore. By the way, when you have to say that, you're already super sketchy. But that's a lie. He still is under FBI investigation. So here you have just flat out a right-wing Democrat. That's what he is. He's a right-wing Democrat. And Pelosi, at the same time she was on the Sunday shows talking about how we have to protect the right to choose, she was campaigning for and supporting Henry Cuellar that same week. So she's a liar and she's a fraud. And Democratic leadership is unsalvageable. Now, if Cuellar ends up pulling this off, if he does, you can absolutely put the blame squarely at the feet of the establishment Democrats, at Democratic leadership. I don't think endorsements mean much. I really don't. But if the margin is like 100 votes or some shit, are there 200, 300, 500 people who maybe got their minds changed because they casually saw, oh, Pelosi endorsed them? Probably. Or is it the smear campaign that worked? Hey, I heard she's a homewrecker. I'm not going to vote for her. So, it's frustrating if she ends up losing. Now, if she ends up winning, oh man, is that phenomenal. Because she's way better than Cuellar. It's not even close. So, again, this one, too close to call, might be an automatic recount. The question is, where are the votes outstanding? Some people seem to think the votes are outstanding more in Cuellar country. Others are saying no. There's still certain areas that are pro-Cisneros that we're waiting on the results from. And if we're just talking about, just provisional ballots sprinkled throughout the entire district, then Cisneros can definitely win. It's definitely possible. So we'll have to wait and see, but this one is just too close to call right now. And cross your fingers because Cuellar's got to go. He's like the heart of the rot of the Democratic Party and Democratic leadership. He's a corporatist to his core, and he's utterly useless. All right. So now we look at this. Dave Weigel says, another loss for the no-labels/Blue Dogs crowd. First Schrader, now Bordeaux. Both members who got redistricted into new turf where local Dems picked more reliably progressive challengers. So Dave Wasserman made the call. I've seen enough. Representative Lucy McBath defeats Representative Carolyn Bordeaux in the Georgia 7 Dem primary. So this is This is another corporate Democrat, another blue dog Democrat getting draxed. This is the third one of what they called the Unbreakable Nine, the Manchin-type Democrats, who was just ousted. So what you're seeing here is, in many instances, voters are even fed up with the Democratic establishment. Voters are. So the Democratic base is going, look, we elected you, we wanted you to do stuff. You're not doing anything. Your approval ratings are super low. You're not delivering materially for the people. So now the left flank is beating the right-wing flank in the Democratic Party, and this is another example of it right here. So that's super positive, and this adds to, Summer Lee previously, John Fetterman previously that we talked about in the last election. This is hilarious. So Michael says the following. Remember when Perdue said we are not losing by 30%? He was correct. He was actually losing by 50%. The Georgia Republican base rejected Trump's Stop the Steal message in a big way. This is crazy. So Trump went all in for Perdue. All in for Perdue. And Brian Kemp draxed them sklounced on another level. 73%. Now, granted, this was with 79% reporting, but it's roughly going to be, what the give or take 5 points. This is going to be the result. So Perdue got obliterated, man. Now, this really does send a message to Trump that you're actually not Teflon Don. Yes, Trump has won maybe 60, 65% of his endorsements, but he's lost plenty, and sometimes when he loses big. And Perdue's message is like, hey, I'm just like Brian Kemp, except stop the steal. And the election was rigged. I'm going to talk about that nonstop. Well, turns out voters don't like that. Now, I will say, and this is an important fact, there's some reporting that, there was 10% Democratic crossover into the Republican primary to try to embarrass Perdue because he was Trump's candidate. That's certainly possible. But even with that, Brian Kemp still would have won. He would have won comfortably. So, that's amazing, man. This is the biggest embarrassment for Trump so far. This was a high-profile race. Perdue was definitely a name in Georgia politics. And he just got destroyed. And Kemp walked that line perfectly for Republican politics. Namely, he didn't go hard anti-Trump, but he definitely didn't go pro-Trump. And the reason why Trump hates Kemp is because Trump refused to try to overturn the Georgia election. So he did what I'm going to call the Youngkin tap dance, which is, I'm not pro-Trump, but I'm not anti-Trump. Let me appeal to some Trump people while also appealing to people who are not as insane as the Trump people. And he ended up winning in colossal fashion. We also have this. Trump-endorsed ex-football star Herschel Walker wins Georgia GOP Senate nomination. Wow. So what we're going to see is Raphael Warnock versus Herschel Walker. Warnock was able to defeat a primary challenge. So let's see a little bit. It's only 24 seconds of what Herschel has to say.
And as you can see, I don't look like a politician. I don't talk like a politician. I don't even dress like a politician because my neck is a little bit too big for this tie. But I like not being a politician. Politicians are messing this country up. But don't you worry, I'm here to help fix it.
All right, so let me just say, I'm going to warn everybody. There is a religion in America. It is the worship of celebrities. That's why I fear Dr. Oz versus Fetterman more than McCormick versus Fetterman. And I fear Herschel Walker versus Warnock. Warnock is a phenomenal candidate. He's super passionate and charismatic. He was elected in a traditionally red state, and he has not gone Joe Manchin. He's been way more progressive than that. I like Warnock. But he has a race on his hands now. And this is going to be a heavyweight slugfest, man. It is. So Herschel Walker is super right-wing, endorsed by Trump, endorsed by every Republican. He's one of the few who managed to walk that line and get the support of the super establishment Republicans and Trump. So like McConnell supported him, Lindsey Graham supported him, and Trump supported him. And I think he's a force to be reckoned with, so buckle up on that front. Let's see if I have any more on the election for you. Here we go. I think this is the last one here. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the White House press secretary for 2 years under Donald Trump, won the Republican nomination for Arkansas governor. So the name Huckabee in Republican politics has become a wee bit of a dynasty. And they suck. So I'll never forget the thing about Mike Huckabee that irked me the most. He's creepy in so many ways, but the thing that irked me the most is when he said when he ran for president in 2007, 2008, we should abide by the Bible and the Ten Commandments over the Constitution. It's time to make the Constitution match God's law as opposed to the opposite. He said it, and you would imagine with the Constitution worship on the right, at least nominally, you would think that that would be insane. But no, he polled relatively well in that 2008 primary. And so Mike Huckabee is a psycho. He is a psycho. And Sarah Huckabee, as we all saw during the Trump years, is not much better. So anyway, there's your election breakdown. Make sure I don't have anything else for you. I do not. We'll get to that in a little bit. There's your election breakdown. And sitting on pins and needles here, waiting for the final results from Cisneros and Cuellar, but that might take a while. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.